Bombs away. Offense is the name of the game when the Lions and Eskimos meet. They meet today in the CFL Game of the Week. Also ahead, there's trouble on the prairies. Tyrone Jones has won Blue Bombers. We find out Edmonton Eskimos slotback Craig Ellis enjoys his day on the court. And the Ottawa Rough Riders finally find themselves an owner.
Week 16 of the CFL season brings us to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton for the CFL Report. The Eskimos will take on the Lions in about a half hour's time. It's 11 degrees. It's windy. They've had snow earlier in Edmonton this week, but the grounds crew did an outstanding job. The natural surface here is in excellent and firm condition. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the CFL Report. I'm Gord Miller. Well, when you talk about the BC Lions, you talk about one man, quarterback Doug Flutie. Last week, a single-game passing record to set a single-season passing record in the Canadian Football League. The man has been nothing short of awesome. He'll likely go over 6,000 yards passing this afternoon. All the other quarterbacks in the CFL are just now approaching 4,000 yards. So the question before the Edmonton Eskimos is, how do you stop this guy? Even though Doug Flutie had a great day last week, his football team lost, but he remains the CFL's most dangerous weapon.
You know, we're not any different than the last 14 teams he's played. You want to try to control him and shut him down. Nobody's done it yet. We said that last week when we went out to play him, that no one has controlled him. Why did we think we were different? We didn't control him. We just won the game. And you don't like to have to score 45, 50 points to do it, but if that's what it takes, then that's what you have to do. Hopefully, we can maybe control him a little more.
In the very tough Western Division, this game takes on a great deal of significance, particularly for the Edmonton Eskimos, who would like to win to secure, at least partially, first place in the West.
Last week, Doug Flutie passes for 582 yards. His offense racks up over 700 total yards, and yet the BC Lions still lose to the Edmonton Eskimos. But that's no surprise. The Lions offense leads the CFL in yards gained and is second in points scored. However, the defense has given up more points and more yards than every team in the CFL except for Saskatchewan. That's problem number one for Lions coach Bob Obilovich as the team enters the latter part of the regular season. He knows his team can score enough points. The problem is containing the other side. The trouble starts up front. Rush end Stuart Hill has been the Lions' only consistent performer. The defensive backfield has struggled as well. Countless personnel changes and an injury to Chris Major, the team's best cover man, have left it very vulnerable to the pass. Perhaps the Lions' best defensive performances have come from their linebackers. Rookie O.J. Brigance has been a league leader in tackles all season. And the arrival of Bruce Holmes from the NFL has added experience and some much-needed fire to the Lions' D. But even with Holmes, the Lions' defense will have to make great strides to contain quarterbacks like Tracy Ham and teams like the Edmonton Eskimos.
And joining us now on the CFL Report is BC linebacker O.J. Brigance. O.J., trouble stopping Tracy Ham last week. Any new plans for this week?
No, we're just going to have to try and contain him a bit more, as well as Jones. He came in and did a phenomenal job. Both of them did a great job. We're just going to get more pressure on him and just make sure and contain him.
The playoffs are approaching. You've been one of the rookie surprises this year in the Canadian Football League. Do you feel comfortable now back there for BC?
I feel a lot more comfortable than I did at the beginning of the season. I understand the game more, I understand the scheme more, and I'm more comfortable within the defense. So when you're more comfortable with something, it allows you to do a lot more and be a bit more free in your play.
O.J., congratulations on a great year and good luck this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
BC linebacker O.J. Brigance. And for more on tonight's game, let's hear from the men who will call it, John Wells and Leif Pedersen.
Gord, if the BC Lions have any hope of finishing in first place in the Western Division, they really have to win this one this afternoon.
Well, they do, John, and I think there's a tremendous sense of urgency for both clubs this afternoon. Actually, there you see the standings, and as we speak, Calgary is leading in Toronto, so if they win, of course, Edmonton will have to win to keep pace with them. And I think for the BC Lions, as you look at their season, you know, they may very well end up in third place, and they very well have to come back here to Commonwealth and play a playoff game. So they obviously would like to set a precedent that they can win in this building.
And from an Eskimo standpoint, a win here this afternoon will clinch at least a home playoff date, either second place in the Western Division if the Eskimos do win today. Gord?
All right, thanks very much, gentlemen. One of the men to keep an eye on with the Edmonton Eskimos is slotback Craig Ellis. The Edmonton Eskimos are his 5th CFL team, but as we find out and meet the players, Ellis has found a home here.
Edmonton slotback Craig Ellis may be playing in his 10th season of professional football, but he shows no signs of slowing down. Last year, Ellis hauled in a league-leading 106 receptions and was the Western Division's most outstanding player. Ellis remains in the Edmonton area year-round and fights off the cold Edmonton winter by playing his favorite hobby, indoors.
I enjoy playing tennis. I think I'm starting to play a lot more tennis in the last 6-7 months than I have been playing in the last couple of years, because I've been, other than building my house last year and spending time with my daughter, I'm starting to get a little free time, and I'm trying to spend it most time over at the Glenora on the tennis court.
TSN Hits of the Week are brought to you by the new Subaru SVX. Test drive one at a Subaru dealer today. Our hits start in Winnipeg, where Andrew Thomas nails Mike Clemens. The Bombers are called for no yards, which nullifies a great hit by the Bomber DB. There's no doubt it was a rough night for Clemens, and Tyrone Jones showed no sympathy. Brian Warren uses his speed to track down Bomber QB Tom Burgess. It's tough for a receiver to catch a ball in a crowd. Just ask Calgary's Sean Beals. Ottawa's Reggie Barnes is upended by Carl Anthony, while Stampeders' Carl Bland is tripped up returning this kickoff. Still in Calgary, Charles Gordon gives a clinic on blocking. Just ask Darryl Hall. But the hardest-hitting game was between the Eskimos and Lions at BC Place. First, Robin Belanger stopped Eskimo running back Reggie Taylor. Then Belanger stops a touchdown when he fights off a defender to nail Henry Williams. But the Eskimo defense was hitting even harder. David Shelton greets John Volpe with a thunderous blow. It isn't surprising the ball pops loose and Eddie Lee Thomas takes it for an Eskimo touchdown. On almost any other week, this would definitely be the TSN Hit of the Week. But Roy Bennett outdoes his teammate. Matt Clark catches the ball over the middle, and look out! It took a while for the BC rookie to get up, and it isn't all that surprising because Matt Clark was on the wrong end of the TSN Hit of the Week. Tonight's game features some of the league's premier runners. Both John Volpe and Reggie Taylor have already cracked the 1,000-yard plateau. Tracy Ham isn't far behind with 810 yards. Fullback Blake Marshall has 15 touchdowns, while BC's Doug Flutie has 12.
And a score both the Eskimos and Lions are interested in. The Stampeders lead the Argos 27-14 in the third quarter at Skydome. When the CFL report continues, turmoil in Winnipeg. We'll look at the Bombers when we come back.
The safety is if the safety's up out of the middle and the halfback goes back to fair home, there's no one in the middle. You understand it?
So we got the 8 right anyway with Dane and Elgar.
That's what I'm telling you. If the safety adjusts on the trips. Safety adjusts in the trips. Halfback goes weak. There's nobody in the middle.
Right. Tell us what the rules are.
Trivia Trivia time. Here's the first clue, always the toughest one. This former CFL great was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers before joining the Saskatchewan Roughriders, where he led the team in receiving for 4 straight years in the mid-1960s.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers made headlines across the country this week, but not because they're the defending Grey Cup champions. Charges of racism against the general manager have put the Bombers in the spotlight and in turmoil.
This week, trouble in the Blue Bomber camp. A threatened boycott. Linebacker Tyrone Jones walked out after a dispute with the team over conditions in the dressing room. And the release of his friend and safety, Dave Bovell.
Well, I look at it like this. You know, like I think Cal treats a lot of the players bad. All of the players, most of them. And to me, it looks like, you know, you look at the Albert Williams, the Dave Bovell, you look at the David Wards, all the different guys, the Troy Johnsons, the guys that's been released, has been black guys. It's been, like, you know, these guys could have helped us. I want to play for an organization who's not letting one person dictate and run everything. You know, and that's what I feel like Cal is doing. And he got to understand, this is the 90s, and times have changed. People aren't going to take the same things that they took in the past. I know I'm not. I'd rather get a gun and blow my brains out, and that's for God in heaven truth. I'm serious. I'd rather get a gun and blow my brains out before I let somebody control me.
Meantime, Dave Bovell ends up a half-piece safety with the Toronto Argos.
I'm here. I'm in Toronto now. They're still there. Guys like Ty have been there for, I think Ty's been there for 9 years. James West, and they've seen this man operate year in and year out. And some of their best friends, you know, guys that they've laughed and cried with, have been hurt by Cal, you know. So this is just sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. It should be his Waterloo.
Leif, does the team have a case against Blue Bomber management?
You know what, John? I really believe they do, and for the simple reason that they are playing with inferior equipment, and they have had lousy meals at hotels on the road, and I mean, that kind of stuff builds up. And one more thing, I mean, I watched the game yesterday against Hamilton, and the close-ups of the uniforms, I mean, the gold numbering's all peeling off. I mean, all that stuff starts to build up. You like to have pride in your organization, and I just don't think the players have that right now.
What about the issue of racism?
Well, I think that thing gets blown out of proportion so many times. You know, I like Tyrone Jones. I think he's a great football player, but, you know, let's look at their defense. You got 11 out of 12 guys starting on defense that are black, so if a guy's cut, I think the chances are pretty good it's going to be a black guy that's released. So I think these things get blown way out of proportion.
Old business. I gave you a chance about 3 weeks into the season to pick a franchise quarterback. I selected Doug Flutie. You took Tracy Ham, and I'm just wondering, while we see these two match up here today, if in fact you want to take it back and change your mind and agree with me.
That's funny how you'd bring that up at this point. You know, I've talked to my general manager, and we've put in a pretty good offer to buy Doug Flutie right now. No, you can have Flutie. I'll still take Tracy Ham. Watch today. He is still a real money quarterback. Tracy, hey, look, they're both having great years. Absolutely. Lots of fun to watch for us, but you got the upper hand on Flutie. I'll give you that one.
My guy's got all the records. Tracy Ham has one more victory for his Edmonton Eskimos. That's our view this week from the 55.
And coming up at halftime of our football telecast this afternoon, Cal Murphy will join us from his office in Winnipeg to give his side of the Blue Bombers story. Well, there's not much question that Bob Obilovich has done an outstanding job with the BC Lions this year, but this week we went to his Lions players and asked them, excluding Obilovich, who they thought the best coach in the CFL was.
Last week, we asked the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to tell us, aside from their own, who they thought was the league's best head coach. This week, we asked the BC Lions the very same question.
If you excluded all the coaches on our staff, I would probably have to go with Don Matthews, because I had the pleasure of playing with Don when I first got here, and I thought he was a great coach.
Outside of Coach OB, I really always liked Jackie Parker. He was just a great individual to be around, a great motivator, and you just had lots of fun whenever you were with him, and so I've always liked him as a head coach.
From my experience and understanding his system and being relaxed, I'd have to go with Joe Farragelli, and he's proven that already with what he's done with Ottawa to this point, so Joe Farragelli would be my choice.
Edmonton Eskimos center Rod Connup is one of the CFL's top centers. In 1989, he was named the league's most outstanding offensive lineman, the same honor his childhood idol earned 20 years earlier.
Ed McWhorter, Saskatchewan Roughriders. He was a great player, and then he had an off-season accident where he lost an eye, and he came back and continued to be a great player, as good as he was previous to the accident.
Well, it's an outstanding day in Edmonton for what should be an outstanding football game. The Eskimos and Lions are coming up not long from now, and the CFL Report continues after these messages.
Our second clue, a little easier. After his career, he moved to Spokane, Washington, and was the head coach at Whitworth College from 1970 to 1976.
Well, what a week it has been in the Canadian Football League. In addition to the controversy in Winnipeg, the story in Ottawa finally got a resolution. The Rough Riders have new owners, the Gleibermans from Detroit.
The announcement came on Thursday afternoon. Detroit developer Bernard Gleiberman and his son Lonnie are the Ottawa Rough Riders' new owners. And they were quick to point out that the team would stay in Ottawa.
This is a wonderful town for a football team. There is no question in our mind that this team belongs in this town.
Lonnie, the 23-year-old son, is the team's new president.
I think we need to have someone here watching the thing, keeping track of everything going on. It's a hands-on job. But what's great about it is I got Joanne running the show, and she does such a great job that I'll probably just sit back, relax, go skiing, and let her do all the work.
Terms of the deal were not announced, but the price tag is expected to be far less than the $3.5 million the league had been asking. Speaking of owners, is there anybody like Murray Pezim? Last week, Sports Illustrated wrote an article on the Lions owner. The article characterizes the colorful personality and lifestyle of the man they call the Pez.
It's me, there's no question. The public's well aware how I feel about girls. I love them. I mean, no mystery. They know I love action and doing things. And I'm different, I think.
There's no doubt Pezim has been successful this year. Last week, the Lions had 54,000 to their game against the Eskimos. Tom Porras is back in the CFL and back with the Toronto Argonauts. Porras was coaching in Arizona when the Argos requested his services.
Well, we wanted a veteran quarterback that knew our system because we don't know how long Ricky's going to last, and Willie didn't play as well as we thought he would play.
Quarterback Matt Dunnigan is out of the lineup for another 3 weeks. And still with Toronto, Rocket Ishmael surpassed the 1,000-yard mark in receiving last week with this 62-yard TD strike from Ricky Foggy. But Ishmael is not the leading rookie receiver. That honor goes to BC's Matt Clark, who's caught 15 more passes and has an additional 217 yards over Ishmael. Calgary slotback Alan Pitts continues to be the league's best. Pitts now has 100 catches on the season for 1,550 yards. Last week against Ottawa, Pitts caught 5 passes, breaking Terry Evanson's record for most catches in a season with 96. Evanson set that record in 1967. Sweet revenge for Hamilton head coach John Gregory. Week 15 saw the Tiger Cats hammer Saskatchewan 42-21 and eliminate the Rough Riders from the playoffs. Gregory was fired earlier this season as head coach in Saskatchewan. Ever really wondered what happens behind the play on special teams? Well, we know one thing. There isn't always a referee around. Winnipeg's Larry Willis has been bumped around the league the last couple of seasons, and perhaps here's a reason. Not only does Willis not make the catch, watch him after the play. Just stands there and admires Ed Barry make the interception and take it all the way for the touchdown. The Edmonton Eskimos have more than their fair share of outstanding players. But is anyone good enough to be the CFL's most outstanding? We asked Eskimo fans for their choice.
Doug Flutie. Because, well, I'd say Tracy Ham if he wasn't hurt, but Doug Flutie's done a lot for the league.
I'd have to say probably Doug Flutie, BC Lions. He's doing a good job this year.
Gizmo. Why? He's just got style. Style and grace. Not like some of these other guys.
The Gizmo, I have to say it. He's the best runner in the CFL. That's all there is to it.
There's no question right now that Doug Flutie should be the league's most outstanding player. He's put fans in the seats, and he's put big numbers up on the board this year, and that's probably the biggest criteria when the league comes to vote.
Doug Flutie, because he's the best player.
Well, that makes good sense. In Toronto, the Stampeders lead the Argos 27-17. We'll have more updates for you and our CFL flashback when the CFL Report continues on TSN.
Our play of the week is kind of the play that never was. It comes from the Toronto-Winnipeg game. With the Argos pressing, Ricky Fockey gives the ball to Mike Clements. Clements is swarmed by the Bomber defense, but he manages to lateral the ball to Paul Mazzotti, who throws an apparent TD to David Williams. Referee Jake Ireland is quick to wave the play dead. You be the judge. Should the ball have been called dead? Even if it was a great play by Clements. Mazzotti and Williams as they hook up for the TSN Play of the Week. Our third and final clue. In 1977, he became the head coach in Edmonton and guided the Eskimos to 5 straight Grey Cup championships. The answer is Hugh Campbell.
They will be relegated to third. As a player, people call Hugh Campbell Gluey Huey for his ability to catch passes. Some Edmonton Eskimo players call him Gluey Huey because he doesn't exactly throw money around. One thing everyone calls Hugh Campbell is a winner.
As a player, as a coach, as a general manager, Hugh Campbell has been successful at all 3. As a player, Campbell was dedicated, a coach's dream, and an opposition's nightmare. In 6 seasons with Saskatchewan, he caught 60 touchdown passes, a Rough Rider team record. His best season was in 1966, when he had 17 TDs.
He had a little more deceptive speed than people realized, but I think basically what made him the receiver is dedication, hard work, and great hands, but excellent body control to keep the defenders away, and he could reach out at the last minute and grab the ball.
I loved it, and sometimes even some of the other players would get mad at me because I liked practice so much. I just enjoyed playing. Obviously, I wasn't in the middle having to bang into somebody every play, so maybe it was more fun for me. But the practices and the games, I mean, I take a lot of pride in that during the time I played, I never missed one single practice or one single game.
But as good as he was as a player, Campbell always wanted to be a coach.
I did from the time I was in grade school on. I mean, I looked at the coaches and said, hey, those guys are leading a pretty good life. They get to shoot baskets between periods or play touch football or whatever, and I thought, hey, I could do that and I didn't think anything about pro ball at that time, so all the time I was growing up, and especially in high school and university, I knew that I wanted to be a high school coach.
Campbell's dream to be a coach was so great that in 1968 he left the Rough Riders for a season to become an assistant coach at Washington State. He returned to Saskatchewan to finish his career, but then went right back to coaching, and in 1977 returned to the CFL to coach the Edmonton Eskimos. He coached Edmonton for 6 years, and all 6 seasons the Eskies went to the Grey Cup, winning it 5 times.
They refused to ever lose a game, and they always just felt like the clock ran out on them when we did. And I think we went, 72 games in a row without ever losing 2 games in a row.
In 1983, Campbell left Edmonton to coach in the United States. There were 2 reasons. First, he had accomplished everything he could in Edmonton. And the second reason, his family.
I hadn't made very much money during those years, and I knew that I just couldn't coach forever, like just stomach-wise. Maybe Jack Parker can relate to this if no one else, but I knew that I couldn't handle it forever, and I felt that I needed to have some money set aside so that I wouldn't have to coach forever.
Hugh Campbell returned to Edmonton in 1986, this time as a general manager, and he was successful again. 1 year later, the Eskimos were Grey Cup champions. Campbell has enjoyed his time as Eskimo general manager, but tell us, Hugh, would you rather be a coach or GM?
The coaching was an awful lot of fun, but I wouldn't wish it on anybody I really liked. That's why I hired Ronnie Lancaster.
Well, finishing first is something that Edmonton teams have done a lot under Hugh Campbell. If the Eskimos win today, they'll stay in the race for first in the Western Division, and they're guaranteed that they'll finish no worse than second in the West. The matchup today that we'll watch between Edmonton and BC, Darren Flutie against Eddie Thomas, and it should be a good one. The same can be said for the football game. It's coming up next. Local blackouts are in effect, so check your local listings and enjoy the game.